Hey guys, my name's Mary Lily.
I'm Marshall.
And I'm Caitlin.
And we're the hosts of Unveiled Opinions.
Three newlywed girlies with a podcast on any and everything wedding related. Happy Monday, girls.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How's everybody doing?
Good.
So good. Thank God January's almost over.
It's been so long.
It's been a really long time.
I think I say it every year, but this has been a long January.
I thought the Super Bowl was next weekend, and then I looked at the calendar, and I was like, oh my God,
like
January.
We've got a whole nother week.
Yeah.
See, the Super Bowl is not even on my radar. Like,
it's just a measure of time for me.
Yeah. Gil was watching some football games last night, and I said, what game is this? He goes, it's not the Super Bowl, Mark. I never thought it was the Super Bowl. I just was wondering what game
He's like,
was.
you idiot.
Like, you're so stupid.
You don't even know football.
Yeah, I was like, I don't. You're right.
Yeah, you're like, all right.
I said, I'm going to go in the other room. I'm going to go watch TV in there. I'm watching Downton Abbey in there. So I'll see you later.
You're like, I was just trying to be like social and engage with you.
Yeah.
But I'll just
won't happen again.
Yeah. Before we go into today's episode, anybody have anything new and exciting?
I've been reading the fourth wing book, Black Onyx, and
Ooh,
it's intense. I finished half of it this weekend.
Wow.
It was
good for you.
I didn't have much to do.
You're like, I had no plans.
And it's like very intense and about dragons, and Matthew doesn't understand me. He's like, why are you reading a 1,000-page book about dragons and magic? And I said, mind your beeswax. I'm letting you watch football.
Yeah, just like football.
You watch football, so don't ask me any questions.
You do you, we'll do us.
Is the Onyx one the one that just came out and like was sold out at Target or something?
Yeah,
I kept seeing all these videos about it.
I got it on my iPad,
Gotcha.
but I did pre-order it.
Obviously, couldn't have that delay. But I mean, that's impressive. Good for you.
I mean, I love the books, but they're like getting to like, first it's just like this love, whatever, but now it's just like danger, and it's a little like anxiety.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? But I'm hooked.
I feel like sometimes like that makes them harder to put down, and then I like reading before bed, but then when I'm like get too hooked or it's like too anxious, then it's like, this isn't even productive. This isn't helping me wind down at all.
Then it's like it's 3 a.m. and I'm still reading.
Yeah, and it's like I can't like read this first thing in the morning
before work.
But you've got to.
You have to.
You have to do it for the books. Well, Mary Lily, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about photo shots, or your photo shot list, which is so fun and actually something important. And pictures like during your wedding day do get annoying. Like, I think even if you love taking pictures, like you're like slightly over it. But I think the shot list is like super important to keep you on track and to help with your photographer and make sure you get everything you want. So like,
it's important.
It is important. And I think it's sometimes overlooked. I mean, at least I feel like I didn't think too much of it when I was planning and like in the like grand scheme of planning. It was like, they'll take pictures, but it's like, oh no, you like really have to get specific of like what pictures they're going to take.
And like with who.
And who's going to be in the pictures.
Yes.
Right. Like I didn't get any posed pictures with just my mom, which is just something you don't think about. Like we got like some, what is it called?
Getting ready pictures or
candid. Yeah. And getting ready. And like, there's some candids, but like, other than that, I like left her off. Not really. She's like the
she's in them, but it's just
but like you didn't have that like portrait photo or whatever. That
right.
Yeah.
And I just stole Caitlin's photo list. Honestly, she's like, "I'll email you mine." I was like, "Cool." Didn't realize it had like Kyle, like everyone's freaking names. Sent it to my photographer. She was like, "Who are these people?" I was like, "Psych."
You're like 5 seconds.
That was wrong. Wrong person.
I put mine together. I swear I sent it to him like 2 days before the wedding.
Oh, that would make me scared.
Well, he told me, he was like, just get it to me by this date. And then I kind of forgot about it because I overlooked it. And then, but I mean, it took like I like just went on Pinterest and was like, what are these foods to like, what's some basic ones? And then I like started getting into it. Like, oh, okay. I want this and I want that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if I would have done mine maybe a day or two before, that actually makes, I don't know. I just was so overwhelmed at the time it was going on and people were demanding things from me. And
like money.
No, like I feel like they're like, you need to get in all these deliverables. And I was, my planner, was no help. So I was just a little like overwhelmed by like trying to, I had like a bunch of stuff to get into the church, getting married in a Catholic church, and they were like being crazy about it. Then, I had stuff to get to my photographer, all this stuff. I sent my planner all this information and asked her to send it to the church, and she didn't.
Yeah.
So then the church was like mad at me.
That's not shocking that happened.
Well, yeah.
So don't feel like when you're doing your photo shot list that you're rushed.
No, and I think that honestly, and I know we're going to get into like tips and advice and all of the things of like what we did and what we would like wish that we did and all of that. But I feel like that is a good point right off the bat, Mary Lily, of like, you can start it and then maybe like come back to it. Like it doesn't have to be as much of like a pressure, like sit down and like do this all at once.
Just like when you're taking the SATs.
Exactly.
You can just not answer a question and come back to it when you're ready.
Get up and walk around.
I think it is like having a well thought out photo list. It's not just about like, okay, like let's make sure we get a few key moments. It's like really making sure that you're getting the memories that you want like preserved and captured in the way that is important to you and to like your fiance. So that's what we'll talk about.
And I think it really helps photographers. Like they want to do a job, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so like giving them direction on what you want, I think is really important.
Yeah. And like collaborating on like how to make sure they capture what matters most.
And it helps with timing too. So like they know how to time the day.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why it's starting off. Why is it essential? It's the timing.
Here we go.
Making sure that your photographer like knows what's important. And
I got my schedule from my photographer before I got a schedule for my wedding planner.
Yeah.
I actually think I did too.
I think I did too.
Because they work in, well, I don't know about yours, Mary Lily, but mine works in collaboration with my planner. So, they were talking on the side too about timing as well.
So we talked a little bit, and Marshall, I know that you used Pinterest. Mary Lily, you used me. I used my planner. But what were some key categories that you feel like everybody like should probably either consider or include?
I think probably
the wedding party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then stuff with your family, like portraits. I know like I wasn't super into like the posed photos, but I knew that would be important for like my parents, my Gil's parents. And it's also nice to just have like, I feel like when's the last time I had a family like photo with like everyone in it.
Exactly.
So that was also nice to have. So even if it's not important to you, think about maybe like your parents or if it's important to you to make them happy, that might be something to include.
Yeah. No, it's because again, then it's like gifts for the next year.
Exactly. It's such an easy gift. Oh, I did it 2 years after too.
Yeah, I mean, we just did one.
Just keep it going.
Yeah. Doesn't need to stop. Yeah, I think the friends and family and like the reception, I know some people really want to get the details and the decor if that's something that you're putting a lot around.
Like your flat lays and stuff like that.
Yeah. Ceremony.
Right. And I think my other thing I would say about flat lays and details is like be super specific. I had a lot of details that I wanted laid out and like they weren't really executed correctly for my planner. And like literally 5 minutes before my reception, maybe the reception had started, I was like going around and changing stuff. And the photographer did get pictures of all the stuff, how it was wrong. So like that's another thing on my part. Like, you know what I mean? I did not give her super detailed stuff. And when she did like my invitations and stuff, I like would have done it so differently. But she was like, oh, we're going to do this during the reception. And now looking back, I kind of wish, or maybe she did it in between I forget, but she did it during the reception out on the terrace. And I just didn't like how they turned out. And I feel like it didn't, I don't know, wasn't the vibe I was looking for. And I think also that's another thing. I should have been more detailed about what I wanted, maybe give an example, pictures, things like that. So yeah, be specific.
And also with your photographer, I know I looked at a lot of his like his portfolio, but I remember I referenced one wedding that he did and I was like, I pretty much love everything you did here. Like all the pictures, like the shots, like the candid moments, the portraits, the detail shots, and that's what I told him. And he just because I wasn't super detailed in what detailed shots I want. But then when I went back and looked, I was like, oh, that's so cool that he like got a photo of that and I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, go with your style, their style too.
Yeah. And I think too, if you, for now, like on the lay flat photos, is to also maybe see what they have because I like had a bin of stuff for lay flats and like some of those things. And I had bought ring boxes and whatnot. And like my photographer had all of the props and everything kind of.
Yeah.
And so I didn't need any of that. And I mean, it wasn't like it was like a ton of stuff, but you know, it's
one less thing you have to buy.
Yeah. One less thing you have to buy, one less thing you have to consider.
You have to take
also,
with you.
I think you can buy, I like talked to, maybe it was your photographer, Caitlin, and she said she like buys the ring boxes on Etsy.
I bought on Amazon for like
but she buys them like used or something. I forget what your photographer said. Or maybe she was like, I find them at thrift markets and stuff.
I feel like she would find them at thrift markets.
That's a good idea.
Because they did look kind of like, they just had like character, I feel like.
But I liked that. I had like a whole box of stuff, like you said, but I like didn't like give her direction with it or anything. You know what I mean? And like she pulled out like scraps of ribbon that I had just thrown in that box and like winded them around my invitation. And I'm like, what gave you this bright idea? Like it does not look good.
Yeah. You're like, where did this come from?
But I also did look at pictures that had been taken that my venue was tagged in. And from different photographers and stuff, if I like loved how a bride's picture looked and stuff at my venue, I was like, I want some like this, some here. Just because like you can do pictures so many different ways at your venue.
Yeah.
So like think about that too.
And because you have different layouts too.
Right. That's very true.
You know, dinner meal styles, like all of that kind of impacts.
Do you want your pictures inside, outside? What's the lighting like? I feel like it just gets to be.
Yeah, I wasn't that specific. Hearing all this, I was like, I just was like, oh yeah, here are the people I want.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just was like, I trust you. You're a professional. Like I kind of feel like by that point, I was so overwhelmed with so many other things that like I almost couldn't. I mean, I love how I don't have any regrets with my photos, but I mean, I was like, oh, should I have added more? But I mean, he got everything. And then there's a second photographer, and between the two of them, I feel like it was fine. He probably would have loved more direction from me though. Like looking back on it, he probably was like, does she even want me here?
Oh my God. Well, in hindsight, before we go into like what categories you did prioritize, were there any things that you intentionally didn't prioritize or that you forgot to and like have regret around?
I guess that for me, it wasn't so much with my photographer. It was, I know in the shot list, I included Gil's grandmother because she's I would consider grandparents immediate family. Immediate. And I, sent the shot list to Gil beforehand. And I was like, make sure your dad gets his mom there.
Please communicate this.
None of it was communicated. And I was so annoyed. And literally Brian, my photographer, was like, where's Kathleen? And like, because, I got my family together. I mean, there's like 4 of us, but like I got it all together and everything. But then, so we don't have.
You're like, who's Kathleen?
No, like I actually know. But literally I was like, okay, so we don't have any pictures with her because she also, I mean, she's older. She left the reception after dinner. Like, I feel like we don't have a single photo with her. And I'm like, I mean, that's your grandma, not mine. But
yeah, it's like she made it and she's not even photographed.
Exactly. It's like I guess I should have made sure that the communication with like Gil and his family, like they got it, I don't think they did. Because Kathleen's not in any photos. So
what about you, Kate?
I don't know. There's a few that I'm like, oh, we should have done this. And then there's also some that I like didn't do. We had our photographer, we did not have her do really getting ready photos. There was like the staged getting ready photos where it's
It was
like
like your
my
mom
dress.
helping you do your
Yeah.
dress. Yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't like me with like the girls and like hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't as important to me just because I feel like it's like, what are any of us doing with those
Mm-hmm.
photos these days? Like, I know none of y'all are printing that off of our in our pajamas and like putting that in your living room.
I get that for sure.
And so I was like, what are we going to do with this? This doesn't feel like a good use of like the timeline and like the time with the photographer. And then on like things that were missed, we wouldn't leave. And so we didn't get as many pictures of, we had like a Rolls Royce getaway car.
Yeah.
And we didn't get really pictures of that. And then
was your photographer gone by that point?
no, they weren't, but they were just like,
oh, gotcha.
Everybody was not happy that Kyle and I wouldn't leave.
Yeah, they're like, Caitlin, wrap this up.
We're ready to go.
We're charging you overtime.
Yeah, and we were like,
the guests are charging you overtime.
Not me. I was literally standing there with a beer, like yelling at people. I was like, the stairs are getting slippery from the snow.
Yeah. And then there was like just a few that in the like family portraits, they set because again, timing, somebody was running late. And so we got my hair and makeup got like they had to touch it up and redo something. And so that kind of messed up stuff. And so they were before, because since our ceremony was at 5, we had to do pictures on the front end. So we had to do a first look and all of that. So we did family portraits before, and both photographers were doing like Kyle's family, my family. But then there's some pictures where it's like Kyle's not in them, and it's like just me with my, which is like that's nice, but I'm like, where are we putting a picture of just me with my family and not my husband on our?
I'm in some of those.
Oh, I purposely the whole guilt, like I wanted separate.
And I have some, but there's some where he's not in them at all, and I'm like,
oh yeah, I have plenty of those.
Yeah, it's like you wish you would have got some of him with your family.
Yeah.
Matthew's parents both have a bunch of siblings, and my dad is one of 4. And so it was kind of hard to like pick and choose. You know, like I am really close with some of my mom's sister.
Yeah.
But like I don't think I put her on the shot list to get a photo of just her and I. She's also my godmother.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, no, that's like we're cutting at the level of aunts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it'd be hard to get hers with not other, other aunts.
So like I do wish the only thing I would have done is been like way more detailed with my photographer. I already was, but I guess I should have shown her detail pictures that I like just because I'm like specific. Also, she like, I'm going to say chat GPT, but that's not the right word. She like AI'd like my like save the date or like the reply card for my invitation to be on top of the invitation in the flat lay.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like
Photoshop?
Why did you, it literally looks terrible. I'm like, is this a joke?
That's interesting.
I know, like things like that. And she just got them on the stone back of, there's just stone under them and like, and then some ribbon around it. And I like had the boxes because Brooke, Worthington Jewelry plug, my sister-in-law, she made my earrings and my wedding band.
Yeah.
And so like I had boxes that are from her business that looked nice. And like I just feel like she didn't. And I said that to her. I said, Brooke, my sister-in-law made this stuff we do want to get. And I just feel like the details were kind of lost. And I probably should have, when she said we're going to do them later, I probably should have been like, actually, I want to do them now. Or been like, I want them to be in the ladies' locker room or in a different background. And then again, just being more specific with my planner so that some of those other detail photos were right. But like once you are there, like I feel like you're in it. Like you're not like, oh my God. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, I haven't gotten a picture with my mother.
No, like you're so overwhelmed.
It's very over like stimulating. Like I'm thinking back and I think Brian did all my detail shots because I also didn't really care about the getting ready photos. But then his second photographer came and I feel like she did kind of the getting ready. Like I didn't have a lot of posed ones or anything, but he did my detail shots when I was getting ready because I didn't care. So I guess that would be a good time. And it was at the beginning of the day.
That was when ours did too.
We did getting ready photos, but not that much.
Yeah.
I didn't want a ton.
I didn't want a ton either.
I just feel like with the Catholic gap, they assumed they could get a lot done in that time between the ceremony and the reception. And I just think maybe
the time
they like
flies.
they like underestimated the time.
Yeah. Well, it's good to keep in mind too of like you put together the timeline and you like kind of add it into your photo shot list, and you want to make sure there's a buffer because I mean you got kind of things got smushed on your timeline. I know I experienced that too, and you don't want it to be stressful because it's like
you don't want to be thinking about it.
Yeah.
No, you don't. And you're like so over taking pictures. I mean, Caitlin, I remember was like, Mary Lily, my hand is going to break off. This bouquet is so big. Caitlin's bouquet was so thick. And she was like, hold this. Like, but like, she was like, I don't want to hold this bouquet anymore for another effing picture.
Yeah. I was over it.
I was freezing.
I was so hot at mine too. I was like, my dress was sticking to me. I was like, when will this be over? Like, I don't care. But
I was like
in the moment, I was like, I literally make it stop. I tried not to do, we did after the ceremony and like really early in the reception, we went and did portraits. And I was like, I want to skip these. Like, I don't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't do it either.
I actually loved Matthew and I.
Yours were so good.
Well, it was also so fun to like, I know everyone likes like take a time and eat your meal alone, or Caitlin, you guys kind of had your sweethearts table. I think that was really fun for Matthew and I to go like do and like get away from the craziness. Yeah. And like, that was kind of my like breather. Also, it had cooled down by then. And they had they gave me glasses of champagne and a golf cart to ride in. So I was like,
too. Entertained.
But I really liked it. But I understand like the not wanting to. I was like, do I really have to do all these pictures with like, I don't know. I wanted to quit.
Yeah. We did all our portraits before. Like
we did some before
we
and
did
after.
all like pretty much all of our pictures before.
We didn't do a first look. No, I know Marshall's wedding was nice. Like after the thing, they were like, all right, bridesmaids, you're done.
Yeah, they're like,
But we didn't do a first look, which I think added to some of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I feel like photographers, from a time standpoint, they do like to do the first look.
Yeah, I think they really appreciate it.
I mean, I know Caitlin, you probably did the same, like the sunset.
Yeah.
Like we did it in like November, December. So like the sunsets, if you wanted pictures, it had to be before. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise it's in the dark.
It's in the dark. No one wants.
Or inside.
Mary Lily, I think that's a good point too, because you had a little bit of a break. And so after, like, I don't know, I just feel like you were like in your pictures, like where it was just you and Matthew during like early in the reception, you seemed so like just happy, carefree, like so fun. I feel like I was like, because it was right after I hadn't seen anybody because we'd been like up away. And I was like, I felt like I like wanted to go see everybody.
Yeah, you're like, I want to go to be at my wedding.
Like I'd been with Kyle for a little bit because we had the first look, and it was like, okay, like I feel like I'm over this now. Right. And like, but I like seriously like the pictures of you and Matthew at like during that time are some of my absolute favorite because they're just so fun.
Well, it was also nice because we had the earlier wedding. So we did have the luxury of being able to like go and do that. Because like the reception started at 5 and also it was summer. So we had light for longer.
Sunlight.
Which was fun. But yeah, like I was at the perfect point. We had like done our dances. I think I had eaten some. We had cut the cake. And then like my photographer was like, we want to go take more pictures. And I was like, yes, like now I'm in the mood too.
Yeah.
Right. It felt more natural probably too.
Take them. I feel like you do regret not taking them like more than you will taking them, even though it is, I can't tell you how like daunting it is. Maybe
that is like, I don't know if it's solid advice or not. So take it with a grain of salt. Right. But like go like get a little bite to eat, yourself. Go do a lap, see some people, and then go take some more pictures once like you've kind of like let your guard down and you're like, all right, I'm not missing anything. Right. Like once you've seen the space too, because I was like, I haven't even seen inside. Like I want to see this place.
Oh, I was peeking in the whole day.
I was too, but
like my planner kept being like, "Do you want to come see it?"
Caitlin left all of the bridesmaids and was like, "I'm gonna go walk the venue alone."
She needed a breather.
I haven't seen it. I'm like, what did you do on that 20 walk?
Get a break from Mary Lou's panic attacks in the bathroom.
Caitlin was staining her wedding dress at that time too. It was a lot to panic about.
Yeah, I was calmer than you were.
Mary Lou was just worried.
Yeah, for everyone. Were there any other like unique pictures that were important to you, whether it was like including a pet, heirlooms, bringing in some hobbies? We talked about.
Yeah, the Connie, like we wanted pictures. I wanted pictures of me and my dog, Conroy, just us. And then with Gil as well. Yeah, because he's my dog.
Just portraits of the two of you.
And I got them and they're perfect.
But it's over the fireplace.
But then I did want some with me, Connie, and Gil, so that was important. I also like wanted pictures with my mom because my mom hates getting her picture made. So like we don't have any photos together. I think besides my wedding, like the last picture we have together is probably when I was like graduating college. Yeah, like she will not have her picture taken. Like she just, I don't know, she's one of those. So I really wanted pictures with my mom. So that was like probably the only things that I really cared about. And then I told my photographer just like, I want lots of candids, but not candids of random people. Like, I mean, like, obviously it's okay to have like, my guests, like, random pictures, but like, I wanted like pictures of like my family, like on the dance floor, like me, like candidates of me and Gil, stuff like that. Like just not anything super posed. But I was like, I don't really care about these. Like, I don't care about having
like I'll give you a list of all the people I don't care about.
I did actually. And I was like, these people, I was like, I don't want a lot of pictures with these people.
That's amazing.
Marshall has like a binder with pictures of every single guest. She's like X's out the ones that don't matter.
Yeah, these are like the do not fly list.
My photographer and my planner both asked if there was like anyone I didn't want really around me that day, anyone I don't like want a lot of pictures with. And I was like, yeah, actually.
You're like, thank God somebody asked.
Thank you for bringing it up, actually.
Oh my God, nobody asked me that.
Nobody asked me that.
Literally one person on the list. Won't name them, but
obviously we're not naming these people.
Marshall's like, this is just a burn book. She's like, you girls are on mine. And like, I can't admit that here.
No names. No,
the photographer ate me up at Marshall's wedding. I know I wasn't on that list.
Oh my God.
You're in so many pictures.
Mary Lily, what about you? Were there any like unique pictures that were important to you or like specific pictures?
I think I just like love the where we got married in the venue so much that there were like certain ones that I wanted around the venue, but other than that, no. I just really wanted to, get like character of the venue, I feel like in it. And what about you? I know the dogs came for you.
Well, only one was invited. Kyle really wanted his dog in pictures. And so he got invited and my dog just would have been too much anxiety. She would have also been having panic attacks in the bathroom.
She'd be in there with Mary Lily.
No, me and Caitlin's dog both threw up the morning of Caitlin's wedding.
Oh my God, I forgot she threw up.
She
almost choked on a bone last night. We were talking about, oh my God, she's going to be 10 next week. And I go in the next room and she's like
choking.
Yeah, I'm like, all
right.
my
God, Caitlin, a dog bone or like you gave her a chicken bone?
No, like
Am I gonna have to report you?
Okay. It was a dog bone.
Am I gonna have to call somebody?
No, my mom gave my dog cooked chicken bones and my mom goes, she just ate the whole thing. I'm like, Mom, that is so bad. Were you trying to murder her?
Like, are you saying that you don't like her? Is that what you're saying?
What? No, my dog could not come at her to be there with me, but it couldn't happen.
It added another layer of complexity to pictures.
Like, who's going to go get the dog? Who's going to take the dog
back? We paid
back?
Somebody. My planner knew people who would literally have like dog carrier services.
My planner offered that too, but one of them just ended up going in and getting Connie. And I was like, oh, okay. My brother was going to go, but sure. Because I mean, everything was on the property. It was like you could walk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as we kind of start to wrap up, what advice would you give to somebody to create a stress-free photo experience?
I think like just really communicating with your photographer as much as possible. Ask questions. I mean, like we always say, like tell them like I'm a first time bride. What is the normal stuff? What are all the options? Look on Pinterest, like do your research, I think. And don't like worry about what anyone else says is weird or cares about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like piggybacking off of that, like if they're like with how Mary Lily was really specific with like detailed shots she wanted, if you can maybe have examples of that to like maybe show your photographer day of, or even like email it to them before so they can have that in their mind and be like, I have all the stuff for the detail photos. Like it's all in this box, you know, like Mary Lou was saying, just like over communicate what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I did with my photographer when I was like, I really like this, how you did this other bride's wedding, like having something to reference so he could like be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Connect the dots and be like, okay, yep, this is the vision.
Exactly.
I think you have to remember is all your vendors at the end of the day do want you to be happy with their work and like the job that they've done. So as much as you can communicate with them, like the better they'll be able to execute what you want and like the happier your relationship and working relationship will be.
For sure. Yeah. And the only thing that I would add is just, Marshall, you mentioned grandma was missing. My planner had told me to have like a bridesmaid. Like both photographers obviously had the shot list and all of the names, but my planner was like, listen, have like somebody that you trust that's going to be there to help you, who also kind of knows people and can be like, okay, so and so, like look alive, because the photographer doesn't know everybody's name.
Exactly.
And they can yell it out, but if they're just like yelling a name aimlessly, like it may not be as quick.
You're so true. And also maybe reiterate with your family or whoever's going to be in these pictures how important it is to be there on time.
Yeah.
And because we had some family members, not on my side, that were wandering off for smoke breaks and they didn't want to take pictures anymore. So
they were over it.
They were over it. And I was like, you've been in 2 photos.
Yeah, you're like, you don't get to be over it. Yeah,
put the vape down.
We've just got started. So maybe just like reiterate that like these are photos you want. These have been paid for. They're very expensive. You could do this one thing for me.
Yeah.
Matthew kept trying to give our photographer advice on things like lighting. And I was like, she is a professional.
Yeah.
She might know. Yeah.
Zip it.
Yeah, they might know what they're doing.
I saw this TikTok though, and I feel like I've got a good pulse on it.
The other day I said something about my skin, you guys, and he's like, have you tried rose water?
Oh God.
Yes, Matthew. I've been going to a dermatologist since the 5th grade. I have had Mario Badescu rose water spray before. He's like, well, have you tried making your own? I'm like,
oh my God.
Literally? I'm going to block Instagram on your phone.
A crafty man.
Full of suggestions.
God, always. All right, we'll wrap up our suggestions. We had a couple Q&As from our Instagram, and we kind of talked through some of these, so we'll just kind of quickly go through them. What pictures during the reception should I make sure to get? Were there any pictures that you were like, ooh, I loved this one?
I loved a lot of the dancing ones.
Yeah.
Like, and with the band.
Kind of more candid, natural.
Yeah. And Matthew's cousin performed. And I think that was really special. We got like such fun pictures of us like dancing to him. And like, I love when he performs. And so that was really fun. I loved those.
Yeah. I agree.
I
also,
would agree.
Like, the dancing photos are always fun. Also, my photographer got, we had lots of candles, so like candlelight and stuff. And he got a lot of photos of just like candid, I guess, people at our like dinner because we did like the sit down. And it was really cool how like all the twinkle lights above and the candles and just those were just like really something I didn't know I wanted, but they're kind of some of my favorite pictures.
Yeah. Well, it captures the moment, I feel like. A moment that could easily not be captured.
Yes.
Well, and that's like why you're hiring these wedding photographers and not like having your like second uncle take them as well. Like they can do really cool stuff. Like, and just make the lighting and everything, I think, really beautiful.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Next, how specific does my list need to be?
I say pretty specific.
As specific as you can get it.
Yeah, I would say don't copy and paste your friends.
Make sure it has the right people on there.
Their names and all, yeah.
Read the shot list that you send.
Yes.
And as Marshall, you mentioned, like there's Pinterest, like there's so many places that you can.
Planners offering stuff. I actually think, now that I'm thinking back, my photographer sent me a sample list. So he was like, this is also just kind of like generic.
Something to get you started.
Exactly. There's resources.
I feel like a lot of them are like, this is just to get you started. Don't rely on any template 100%.
Because what's important to you might not be important to someone else. So,
yeah. And then I know most photographers like provide a timeline, but what advice would you give to somebody on like sticking to the timeline and like how important the timeline is as it relates to the photo shot list?
It's I
think it's important when you have lighting issues.
Yeah, that's true.
Or if you only have your photographer like 8 hours as opposed to 6 hours, like depending on how long they're going to be there.
Yeah. So. Which is something to look at in your contracts. Cause I think we had ours like 10 or 12, but we started at maybe 10 and it was like, okay, you do have to be really strategic at that point of like, what is being captured? Are we getting the getting ready photos or
would you rather have the exit photos?
Yeah.
Like you have to make some decisions.
Like hair and makeup does take longer usually than you expect.
It takes so long.
It was like, it was on time at my wedding and I was shocked, but like, I feel like always expect for that to take longer.
Yeah. And I do think a lot of photographers and planners do account for that and put in a little bit of buffer time, but I feel like that's like 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, not like an hour.
If you got like an hour, things are not going to be okay. Awesome. All right. Well, that's all for today, girls.
Perfect.
Yay.
Make your photo shot list. Yeah. Picture perfect. All right. Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.